الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد عدد كمال الله كما يليق بكماله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب يسر ولا تعسر رب تمم بالخير سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم نويت التعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم ودعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله مرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم الفاتحة أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين الحمد لله. Today we are continuing our study of this wonderful work of Ayyuhal Walad, or the beloved son, by Imam Abu Hamid Muhammad bin Muhammad Al-Ghazali, and we are at page 24. We are going to finish on the last hadith we mentioned last week. And beautifully though, this hadith will continue into the 17th council. So we're at the 16th council, the last part of it. And actually the 17th council will build its premise based on this hadith that I'm about to read. It is narrated that Ash-Shibli, rahimahullah ta'ala, served 400 teachers. And it is a common thing, all right? So it's a common thing for people of the past to have numerous teachers. In fact, it is a tradition that continues till today. All right, so having numerous teachers means you take different forms of knowledge, because different people are endowed with different gifts, all right, with regards to their knowledge of what Allah has bestowed upon them. All right, so different people have different degrees, different strength, and therefore with more teachers you have, you develop more strengths. So the question that is always asked is that, should we have a lot of teachers or should we have only one teacher? Now, this varies across the person. All right. So scholars, we notice they have a lot of teachers. Scholars have a lot of teachers. Why do they have a lot of teachers? Because they have the capacity to understand, to discern, to consume, to internalize the various forms of knowledge. All right. So they can navigate they won't get confused. So if teacher A says this and teacher B says that about a matter and it's a differing opinion, they know how to navigate it. They will never have this occasion whereby since teacher A says this and teacher B says this, teacher A is better than teacher B. The scholars will consume from the teachers and benefit from the teachers, and that's it. And in return, they will deliver that message that they have learned, or they will actually internalize it and then produce a knowledge based on all that they have understood and benefit their teachers by virtue of them spreading the message that their teachers have taught them. So that is the way of the scholars. All right. So this is from the Prophet's hadith. Khairukum man ta'allama al-Quran wa 'allama. The best of you are those who learn the Quran and you teach it. So they learn and then they teach. Now, for normal people like us, even though there is good in having multiple teachers, it is one thing you shouldn't overlook is that having multiple teachers is good because it exposes you to a lot of opinions, but it must not come at the risk of confusion. If you are someone who takes a long time to learn or to consume or to internalize something, all right, and you have a lot of teachers, then it is better to have one, so that you have one route to follow. It's not because you are fanatic or you are obsessed with the teacher. No, it's for your own learning. So if you find that having multiple information is confusing you, all right, or it actually discourages you because it becomes tiring. Multiple teachers mean multiple commitments, multiple time, multiple hours, and you have your own commitment to attend to. And afterward, it just discourages you from seeking knowledge. Then it's all good to have only one or two teachers. All right, to have one or two teachers to learn from. All right, and then when your knowledge is cemented, knowledge is stronger, is more affirmed, then you start looking for you start looking for other teachers to affirm on that foundational knowledge that you have. So again, it is back to an individual. So with matters pertaining to knowledge, it is always important for you to be more nuanced when you talk to people about it. Don't go to the public and say, everyone should have a lot of teachers. Because not everyone in the public can consume many things from many people. All right, so it's really up to the person. All right, really up to the person. All right. So, but the way of the people of the past is that they have a lot of teachers because they have a lot of capacity to consume the knowledge provided by their teachers. I read 4,000 hadith traditions. So they read 4,000 hadith. All right, having learned it from multiple teachers. It can be the fact that he has read 4,000 hadith from various teachers. Means that he has read 4,000 hadith from multiple teachers. That's why he mentioned about the teachers. Or he has benefited from the science of teaching, of reading the hadith, and therefore he pursued the reading of it on his own. All right, either way. All right, and selected one of them for practice. And this is a very important notion here, that when you learn something, it is for the purpose of practice. All right. It says Imam al-Ghazali, he says, al-ilmu bila amal jununun. To learn, to seek and not practice is madness. All right. It's going for a car license, and then after that, letting the license stale, and then you don't drive a car your whole life. All right. So to take something means that to learn something means that you're going to act upon it. You must seek the intention. That's why when you, some of the dua of the scholars is that, Rabbi zidni ilman nafi'ah. Oh Allah, increase upon me knowledge that is beneficial. And then the continuation is, Rabbi zidni ilman nafi'ah wa wafiqni amalan maqbula. Oh Allah, increase upon me knowledge that is beneficial and give me guidance. Wa wafiqni amalan maqbula, to perform a deed that is accepted. So there is always a marriage between knowledge and also deeds. That's why the Prophet ﷺ says in a hadith, Man isdada ilma lam yasdad huda lam yasdad minallah illa bu'da. Whomsoever increases in knowledge but doesn't increase in his guidance, he has increased nothing but distance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So guidance, all right, is manifested also through your increment in good deeds. All right, so you are supposed to be a better person. Increment in good deeds can mean two things. Your act of obedience increases, means that you like to do worship. Another form of increment in deeds is that now all those deeds prior to this that you did without having attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has an attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Previously, you will sleep for the sake of sleeping. Now you sleep for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Last time you eat for the sake of eating. Now when you eat, all right, you eat for the intention of seeking Allah's pleasure. What does that mean? You eat halal food. You eat food that is halal and good. You also eat halal food so that it strengthens you to do ibadah so that you do not weaken from it. So there is always putting Allah at the front of things, a sign of someone who has beneficial knowledge. So I read 4,000 hadith and selected one of them for practice. Because having pondered over it and considered it seriously. And this is another important part. So in this lesson, in these sessions that we have, right, I will not just go through. You know, some people when they read a book, they just want to complete it. But I will go line by saying there are some things that are being shared here, even though that is not the main message of the writer Imam al-Ghazali, but since it is mentioned, it is for our learning point. So he says that Ash-Shibli, all right, Ash-Shibli, he read 4,000 hadith, he selected one of them and then pondered over it and considered it seriously. So it's important for us to also contemplate on the knowledge that we have learned. What I'm saying is that, you know, all those notes you have taken, if you take notes from these classes or you have observed this book, do not just wait for the next lesson to open it again. But read upon it, all right? Ponder upon it, whatever you have learned, all right? Maybe after the lesson you're exhausted, after the lesson you're tired. Okay, but put aside time for you to open up the book and read. At least, for example, if you have class next Sunday at 10 a.m., all right, then you make it a point to be seated before your laptop at 9:30 to open up and to revise what you have learned. Because if you don't revise and you don't contemplate and you don't consider, then when is it going to be the next step of course of action for you? So if you're going to learn and then wait for the next lesson to actually learn a new thing, when will the old lesson that you took the previous week be activated, will be acted upon? So this is a thing that we must bear in mind about seeking knowledge. It is not to go through the motion. Oh, I'm just satisfied. I tick the box that I attend a session of knowledge. That I tick a box that I attended one session per week. Yes, that ticks one box. But that box have other sub-boxes. And one of the sub-boxes is to act upon it, is to contemplate upon it. Right? So knowledge is not about going through the motion. All right, you don't consume something and after that you just let it by. Then it will go to waste and literally waste. All right, it's like consuming food and then it comes out from the other passageway of your body. It goes one way, it comes out the other, and it's not processed. Right, it's not processed. So the purpose of consumption of spiritual food is for you to process it so that it becomes part of your flesh and blood. So food that goes into the mouth and comes out the other side is food that has not become your flesh and blood. Therefore, it becomes a waste. All right, it's not used. So the knowledge that enters you and it just leaves you, all right, it is considered a waste as well. Okay. And what is the hadith? So since it embodied the knowledge of the predecessors and those who followed them, and that tradition and that hadith was that of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said to one of his companions, and this is a wonderful, precise, concise, and this is also linguistically rich. All right, look at these words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his companion: "Work for your world according to your position in it." This is easy. All right, so the Prophet, when he talks to people, right, he'll talk to their level of intelligence. And the other thing is that he always increases the level of it. All right, so at the most fundamental level, he says, work for your world according to your position in it, not someone else's position. What's your position? All right, so it is important for us to take note when we are in this world to know who we are and to know our state. All right, so a lot of us are actually engrossed in things that is not of importance for us. Min husn al-Islam al-mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'ni. The best amongst you are those who leave things which are of no benefit to you, or things that do not concern you. All right, so when you go to work, all right, if you're going to work, if you must know your particular job scope, you must know your particular purpose, your particular position at a particular workplace, and what is expected of you. All right, so what is important, therefore, is for you to complete the work and get it done right. That is your priority. In fact, that is the amanah. So all of us who are working tomorrow, sadly, right, for all of us, we are going to work tomorrow. When you're going to work tomorrow, this is something that we haven't contemplated before. All right, that work that we have done, do we know our job scope? What is required of our job scope? Get that portion done first before you indulge in other things. All right, if your work is not done, you shouldn't be found at the staff canteen, all right, having a good time for the next 2-3 hours. If your work is not done, you shouldn't be chatting online. If your work is not done, you shouldn't be updating your Instagram. If your work is not done, you shouldn't be watching a video on YouTube in your office. So you have to get your responsibility done. At the same time also, you should not be someone who is obsessed with something that is not of no concern to you. There's a power struggle between the two superiors in your office. That's got nothing to do with you. Your job is to make your work supreme to you, not to be concerned about the politics at the top. And this is important so that you are at peace, so that you achieve tranquility. A lot of things that bother us are things that has got nothing to do with us. A lot of things in this world, it bothers us. You go on Instagram, so and so is getting married for the second time. Then we get worked up. What has he marrying another person for a second time got anything to do with us? Why does it concern us? Why does it bother us? All right, you read about this news, this person is doing this to this, you're doing this, and then you get worked up. What has that person got to do with us? It's got nothing to do with us. A lot of things that we are worked up with are things that's got nothing to do with us. But things that are actually embedded within us, we don't get worked up about. We are not worked up about the fact that we still struggle to recite the Quran. We are not worked up about the fact that we still memorize the same number of pages of Quran after 20 years of our lives. We are not concerned that we still don't know the basics and foundations of the religion. That is of no concern, and that should be our most grievous concern. But we are looking elsewhere, looking for things. And these things are not even of direct importance to us. We are not concerned that our children are struggling with their faith. We are not concerned that our children are struggling to grow up. We are not concerned about our children struggling for their identity. This is of no concern to us. We are concerned about people who are across the sea or across the border, across the checkpoint. That's got no concerns with us. So it's important for us to know our position, all right, in every sense of the word, all right. Therefore, how do we start doing that? Firstly, is to be thankful. Sometimes we are looking elsewhere because we feel that what we have is not good enough, or it's not worth paying the attention to. A thankful person will therefore take whatever he has seriously. Whatever is given him seriously, he's thankful for his work. He's thankful for his spouse. He's thankful for his household. If you're thankful for what you have means that you think the world of what Allah has given to you. Start thinking the world of what Allah has given to you so that it benefits you in the hereafter. Start thinking the world of your spouses. Start thinking the world of your houses. Start thinking the world about your work. Think the world of it. That this is my wife. This is so beloved to me. Think the world of them. This is my house. There's no better house than my house. Think the world of your house. Why? All these ultimately gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you. This is the manifestation of Ar-Rahman to you. So many problems in this world come because you're not thankful. Some this like yesterday, someone was asking me, Ustaz, how do I attain khusyuk in salat? How do I attain concentration in salat? I go for this course, I go for this, I cannot attain concentration. I say you start by being thankful for the fact that you are chosen to perform your salat, even though your salat has no concentration in it. Ustaz, I pray but I got no concentration. Sometimes you forget the ability to pray even without concentration itself is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when some people are not even blessed to pray. Some people are complaining to me, Ustaz, my son, when he just prays for a and after he just leaves. You know how many parents are craving to have a son that just prays? So many parents are asking me, Ustaz, can you just dua that my son pray even one rakaat? And we are complaining that our son prays 4 rakats and then he just leaves like that. Be thankful that Allah has chosen your son to be from among those who complete their prayers. No matter how bad that prayer looks, no matter how rushed that prayer looks, at least he knows that when it's time to pray, you time to pray, he prays. How many parents, despite their closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah tests them with having children that don't want to pray at all. So when you are given whatever you are given, learn to be thankful. Find Allah's gift in everything in your life. Everything is Allah's, what is Allah's ordained for you. You know why it's unique? Sometimes you experience it and no one else experiences it. Only you. So your wife is for you. No one else is your wife. You have your wife. Right? Your wife is unique to you. It's Allah's unique gift unto you. Your house is only unique to you. No one else has a house like your house. They might have the same number of rooms. They have the same number of flats. They have the same number of rooms. They have the same number of, they have the same paint. All right? Maybe the same cornice, same design, but it is still not the same as your house, because your house is Allah's unique gift to you. If you start to find that Allah's gift to you is unique, then you will have a unique experience spiritually. All right? So one. Second, also, for you to be someone, all right, that can work the world according to your position in it, is for you to be focused on raising yourself. Be focused on raising yourself. We are so focused on looking at other things now. Be focused on yourself. Be focused on being a better person. Be focused on being someone that is more driven. And when you are to pay attention to other people, you only focus on them so that you can raise them as well. If your connection with someone has got nothing to do with raising them, then it's not worth your time. If you're going to look at someone and just be someone that criticizes and comments, then that person is not worth your time and it's not worth your attention. But if you're going to pay attention to a person, it is because you are going to benefit from that person, or that person is going to benefit from you. If not, it's of no purpose. All right, so this will actually provide the foundations, the basis when how you deal with everything in our daily life, whether it's real, whether it's virtual. All right, so you see some things like this, does it bother me? Does it concern me? Leave it, leave it, leave it. And you're living by the Prophet's hadith when you do that. When you start to leave things that are of no concern to you, all right, you find that you spiritually become lighter. All right, when you are spiritually lighter, then it becomes easier for you to do things. Someone who is not loaded with things, they can move faster. They travel lighter. All right, if you travel lighter, you reach Allah faster. Hashtag. All right. But the next life of the Prophet is amazing. So he says this about the world. So watch your function in this world. And he says, work for your hereafter according to the length of your remaining in it. And this is a beautiful, beautiful speech. Because we all know that the hereafter is eternal. That you're going to khalidina fiha abada. Whether you enter hellfire or you enter paradise, it is for good. It is eternal. It is long lasting. It is not temporary like this world. All right. It is long lasting. You are staying there for good. So if you know you're going to stay there for good, you must know that it is not the same as living in this world. So in this world, you are surely going to live it. Despite this world, despite all these pleasures, you know you have to return. I always like to give this based on the hadith of Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab. All right. He narrates from Prophet ﷺ. He says that be in this world like a traveler. You are traveling. If you're traveling, all right, you know that you're not going to stay at a particular place for so long, no matter how great that place is. In the past, the companions, when they do trading, they travel to Syria. When they traveled to Syria, and Syria was under the Byzantium Empire, under the Roman Empire, the things in Syria is enticing. The civilization. That's why companions like Sayyidina Amr bin al-As and henceforth, they always tell about how civilized, how the nature of civilization was in other countries. All right, their particular traits and everything else. Why? Something that you go to that is foreign to you, sometimes always attractive to you because it is new. So if you take that hadith of the Prophet talking about travelers, if you go on a staycation, you go on a holiday, you're always looking forward to it. Why? Because it's a new experience. All right, it's a new experience. So 4, 5, 6 days, oh, you love that place. I don't want to go home. But if your house was what I said just now, there is a unique place to you, you will always want to return home. You will always want to return. You're always thinking of home. Home for the believers is the hereafter. Because we all came from hereafter. Why? Because our parents are now in the hereafter. Who? Adam. All right? Antum fi Adam. All right? You are from Adam. And Adam fi Turab. And Adam was from the soil. All right? So we all come from the hereafter. So we must have a longing to return to where we come from. A true son, all right, a true son will want to return from the village where he came from. That's why Brother Irwan, the true son, will always go back to Negeri Sembilan. You always want to go back there, no matter how attached he is here. His works are all here. But he knows there is the place that is always close to where? Back to Negeri Sembilan. Where? Why? Because his beloved is there. Who? His mother. We want to go back to the hereafter. Why? Because our beloved is there. Who? The Prophet SAW. So you must have a desire to return. But since you are here in this world, make the best of your time here. So that when you return, you can tell those people whom you return to about how great the life here was. What you did here. Because one of the things that people in paradise, they will meet and they will talk about the things they did on earth. This world is a place for memories. So plant as much sweet memories. And sweet memories, all right, are also blessed memories. Your time with your family members, your time with Allah SWT, all these are memories that you will take into the hereafter and you'll talk about it. So erase memories that's got nothing to do with you. You know, when you have your laptop, you have your computer, you have to clear the files, you have to delete the files, all right, because there's no much space, there's not enough space in the drive. You start to remove those files that are of no necessity to you so that the laptop can function optimally. The same goes. Remove all these files so that what remains are all memories. In your phone, sometimes it's overloaded because why? Your photo, your cameras, your videos are taking up the space. Delete all. Sometimes these photos are random. Your photos of your shoe lah, your photo of your kneecap lah, all these photos, delete. All those blurred videos, all right? Delete. And what is left in your photo album are pictures that when you look at them, you smile. Remove those that don't matter to you anymore. So that you have a vivid memory, all right, for you to look back and smile. And when you look back in the hereafter towards your life in this world, it's full of smiles. All right? So prepare, all right, for your hereafter according to your length. It's going to be a long journey. The Prophet ﷺ says, all right, Allah says in the Quran, وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. All right? وَاتَّقُونِ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. All right? وَتَزَوَّدُوا. So be prepared. فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. So take your provisions. For indeed, all right, the best of provisions is your piety to Allah SWT, your consciousness to Allah SWT. And a beautiful qasidah that is recited by Imam Abdullah bin Ali al-Haddad in his diwan. He says, تَبَلَّغْ بِالْقَلِيلِ مِنَ الْقَلِيلِ. تَبَلَّغْ بِالْقَلِيلِ مِنَ الْقَلِيلِ. تبلغ بالقليل من القليل وهي زاد لي صفر الطويل وهي زاد لي صفر الطويل. This to me, this qasida is like a reminder and a gateway to the hereafter. He says, Imam al-Haddad, all right, he takes a lot from Imam al-Ghazali. If you read Imam al-Ghazali, you can't help but think about Imam al-Haddad. The messaging is always the same. All right. He says, Tabalagh bil qalil, minal qalil. Enough of the little from the little of this world. All right. You have to feel enough. So he says that be satiated. You have to feel contented with the little of this world. This world is not fighting for. Those workplace politics are not worth fighting for. Those petty grouses you have people are not worth fighting for. Tabalagh bil qalil, minal qalil. Take from the little of, be contented with this little from this earth. Whatever you have, be contented. Why? Because you have a bigger purpose. وَهَيِّ زَادَ لِي صَفْرِ الطَّوِيلِ. Let us all gather, all right, increase our provisions for what? Sofrit tawil, for a long journey. Where is that long journey? When we close our eyes, that journey starts into the hereafter. You enter into the graveyard. You wait. When you wait, and then you are you're brought to life for mahshar, for you to be accounted for. And after that, you have to wait to be accounted for. And then you have to cross the bridge. And then whether you fall or whether you survive. And then you enter paradise or or hellfire. Na'udzubillah. All these things calls for provisions. It's going to be a long journey. Wahai zalit sofrit tawil. If you have time, you can download in many multiple versions of that considered by Imam Abdul Malik Alwi al-Haddad. But you can't help. If you think about that, it will bring tears to your eyes because you have to think about what you have to take in the hereafter and you realize you have nothing. All right. The greatest fear is for you to prepare for things and you have nothing to prepare for. All right. The helplessness. You know, like my students, some of them, they are sitting for their A levels. All right. And then they got their prelim results. They are now desperate. They look for me now. And then they are lost. Because why? They realize that for all those 2 years that they are in this school, they have not learned anything. They have not consumed. They have no provisions to enter into the A-level hall. So now they are grabbing my foot. All right. And saying, help me. Right, their helplessness. No, in order to save us from that helplessness in the hereafter, when we realize that we have no deeds, we start collecting it now. Work for Allah the exalted according to your need of Him. And this is again the Prophet ﷺ putting the word in the most impactful manner. According to your need of Him. And we surely need Allah. Work for Allah according to your need for Him. In which time of our life that we do not need Allah? At every second, millisecond of our life, we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which is why this is a reminder. When we say every day, we say Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ar-Rahman. Talking about Allah's provisions to us. Allah's provision for us is given to us when we ask and when we don't ask for it. We have not asked for the air this morning. We have not asked for life today. But Allah has given it to us even though we have not asked for it. And we have not thanked Him for all the oxygen that we have consumed and for all the life that we have lived through all these years. Even though we have not thanked Him and we have not asked Him, He gives it to us. This is Ar-Rahman. This is His provision. All right. So we are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because only He can provide. And work for the fire. And look at the Prophet ﷺ's language. And work for the fire according to your endurance in it. We can never take the heat of the hellfire because we cannot take the heat of this world either. I always give this example to my students. You know, but now, even now, we cannot have that. Okay, simple example. Last time our parents, they will, in the morning when they wake up, all right, our parents or ourselves, they always cook water. They will steam the water and then the kettle will go off. Remember every morning, the kettle, when the water is 100, when it's boiling, you have the sound and then you will rush to off it. Now, that is sometimes, right? Sometimes, or those of you who ride motorcycles, sometimes, right, when your leg hits a certain part of the motorcycle that is still burning, that's heaty, you will take away your feet. Why? Because it's hot. Sometimes when you sip something, all right, hot water, you will take away your mouth away. Why? Because it's scalding. You touch the side of a kettle that is just steaming, you will take away your hand. Why so? Because you are feeling heat, but you are not feeling fire yet. You are feeling heat, but you're not feeling fire yet. So you imagine touching the heat is something that distorts you. Something that you cannot bear with. When you put it in immediate milliseconds, you will take it away. Imagine the original source, the fire itself. You can't take the heat. What makes you think you can take the fire? And those of us who have been to lab, right? Those of us who go to lab, all right? We go to lab, our chemistry lab in school, our favorite place, right? Because we can cause damage inside there. All right. When we on the Bunsen flame, all right. When you on the Bunsen flame, all right. There's always the what? There's always the naked flame, the blue constant. That is the fire at its heatiest. When the fire is colorful, I forgot what's the term for it. All right. When it's orangey, that fire is the one that is least harmful. So when you on that part of the fire, and the sound is there's even no sound that comes with it. You can put your hand there. Wow, it's like magic. You on it to a concentrated form, naked flame. It's called naked flame. All right, it's blue. It's almost colorless. No one has ever that in my history, all right, in being in lab for 4 years in secondary school, and subsequently when I go to junior college to teach, and I walk past the lab, there have never been an accident whereby a student puts his hand out of his free will into that naked flame. No one dares to do that because they know for certain the consequences of it. They know of it, therefore they avoid it. They know because why? In relation, if I touch something hot, I put my hands away. If I touch the origins of it, the source of it, it's going to be worse for me. All right, so that is that. So Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab, one of the deeds that he will do is he will put his hands over the naked flame every night to remind himself, this is something you can take. Not asking you to do that, because your wife will be the first to be screaming when you pop up. Apa tu bang? Playing with fire. All right, but it is something it's enough, all right, to put your memory to it. Right, it's enough, all right, for your memory to think about the hellfire. It's enough for your memory to think about your family suffering through it. It's enough for your memory to think about your beloved having to go through that. That's why you make the dua, Allahumma ajirna minan nar. All right, Allahumma ajirna minan. Oh Allah, save us from hellfire. That's why we say every day, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adzaban nar. Which is why the Prophet ﷺ says that the best dua is that dua. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adzaban nar. That's why if you are in a rush, no matter what, after prayers every day, that dua is suffices. You have things to attend to, right, after your prayers. All right, you have things to attend to after your prayers. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah. And you go. All right, memorize that dua. And now we enter into this hadith. This hadith will take about 3 lessons. All right, not this hadith, this counsel will take about 3 lessons. 17th counsel, companionship. My dear son, if you understand this tradition, which tradition? The hadith from previous. The hadith from previous. There is no need for too much knowledge. So, no, he's trying to tell us, you know, let's not misunderstand this. Oh, Imam is telling us don't need to study a lot. He's not saying that. He's trying to say that if you have to take from all the knowledge that you have learned, all right, there's no need, this one suffices. That's what it means. So you have to caveat it. He's not trying to say that don't study, don't learn. No, because the one who wrote this book himself has a vast knowledge. Imam al-Ghazali, his works, all right, we are reading now his smallest work. Can you imagine this? We are now reading his lightest work. Imagine those who are reading his bigger works. The bigger works of Imam Ghazali. And many commentaries are on his works. All right. And his thinking is sophisticated. All right. With regards to intellect, with regards to the soul, it's complete. It's comprehensive. All right. It's very comprehensive. So now he's saying that if you have to think through your knowledge, you don't have to do it. Why? This one is enough. If you're talking about which part of knowledge should I take, if I have to mix and match, if I have to find from knowledge if I have to compile knowledge so that it becomes a provision for me to the hereafter, he says, don't worry. This hadith alone is enough. That's what he's saying. All right. This hadith alone is enough. There's also another story. This is a story, okay, to meditate and reflect over. Hatim al-Asam was among the friends of Shaqiq al-Balkhi. Hatim al-Asam. So Asam is referring to someone who is hearing impaired. All right. So he has hearing impaired. You know why he's called al-Asam? There's a story behind it. Hatim al-Asam. All right. There was an incident whereby, all right, people always come to him for counsel because Hatim al-Asam is a scholarly person. So Asam means someone who is hearing impaired. Right, Hatim al-Asam. There's a story behind the name al-Asam, that he's hearing impaired. It's not because he's really hearing impaired, you know. Why? Because one day a woman came to him to ask a question, and that woman let off gas, flatulence, farted. All right, farted loud. So there was a moment of embarrassment. I want you to think about how discerning or how quick thinking a pious man is. All right, what did he do? So the woman was coming to him asking questions, and the woman let off gas. So that woman was embarrassed. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? All right, for you to let off gas in front of a scholar. Let guess off in front of a scholar. Not a scholar you embarrassed already, but in front of a scholar. You know what Hatim Asam reaction was? Uh, can you repeat? Can you repeat that question again? Can you? I can't hear. I can't hear. I can't hear. And the way to repeat to the point where they become convinced that he's hearing impaired. Why? Why did he do that? So that he eases the woman's feeling of discomfort that he might have heard her fart. So he just, can you repeat? I can't hear. I really can't hear. Can you speak louder, louder, louder to the point where the woman, it comes to the point whereby he really, I hope, confirm he cannot hear why. That I thought, oh, he never hear me just now. That I let off guess. If it was us, it's going to come out on IG. It's going to be a TikTok video. It's going to be a meme. Man kentut. Even a friend called that. We always have a friend last time that got that name, right? Because of his flatulence. He's not ashamed about it, and you are not ashamed to share about it. But he watches it. This is him. That's why from there on, when he's with people, when he's with people, he always bring that reputation. But Ustaz, that woman is not with him all the time. Yes, but word can spread that no lah, Hatim can hear perfectly, but it becomes well known that he is hearing impaired when he is not. For the sake of one woman, for the sake of one woman's muru'ah, for the sake of one woman's pride, he does that. How many people's pride have we destroyed? Going around and telling about that person's story that is not that is concealed. We go around and tell this person, one stranger does something that potentially brings her to shame. He hides it, right? And narration says that until the day she died. Until the day she died, then he went on, all right, as per normal. It's not easy, you know. It's not easy to be in that kind of state for that sake of one person. And this is a scholar. This is a scholar. All right, this Hatim Al-Asam story, amazing. The story is already amazing. Let's see about what he's learning now. Hatim Al-Asam was among the friends of Shaqiq Al-Balkhi. So now you have to understand the term friends, ashab, all right, in the Arabic text it's called ashab. Now ashab, all right, scholars, while literally it means friends, ashab also means student. So when they say ashabu Shafi'i, the students of the Shafi'i school of thought. All right. So when they say ashabi Rasulillah, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, it's not just companions. It's not peli friend. That's not your idea of friend. Me and Irwan, ashab. But in terms of linguistic, yes, my friend. All right, akaliao, tight friends. But we're talking about ashab in terms of in religious term, it also means student. Well, that's why the prophets, that's why the companions, as much as they are called ashab, look at how they are with the prophet. There's so much adab, there's so much decorum, there's so much of contemplation of your next action. Why? Because ashab means student. All right, it means student. So Hatim Al-Asam was among the students of Shaqiq Al-Balkhi. All right. And here, therefore, is interesting, and which is why I always do it for all my classes. I want you to understand the teacher-student dynamic. And I pray that all of us are granted teachers. I pray that all of us are granted teachers, not just teachers that can guide us in this world and the hereafter. Because that is one of the blessed things. It's blessed enough to have parents that guide you. It's blessed to have teachers that guide your soul. All right, so may we find teachers in our lives. Okay? Hatim Al-Asam was among the friends of Shaqiq Al-Balkhi. All right, one day Shaqiq asked Hatim. This is a teacher asking a student. All right, you have kept my company for 30 years. That is a true student, 30 years. And 30 years is not like us, you know. Sometimes, you know, some people say, how long have you been with this teacher, so and so? Oh, I've been with this teacher for 30 years. 30 years, according to us, is what? Oh, 30 years. So how often do you learn from? Oh, I will always go for his gatherings, or I will gathering from what? On Sundays. What time? 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. If that's the case, you are not a student for 30 years. You are a student for once a week, for 2 hours, for 30 years. That's more specific. If I'm saying for 30 years, it means that most of your time for every day for 30 years is spent with that teacher. That is 30 years. It's not 30 years once a week and you are 30 years. No. There's a caveat to that. Oh, 30 years once a week. That is your 30 years. All right, but you always don't qualify that because why? It doesn't look cool, right? I actually see my teacher once a week for 30 years. Doesn't sound nice. But for this case, 30 years for most part of his life. That tells you the relationship between the teacher and the student. All right, that tells you, oh, stars, how can we achieve that? Our teachers do have classes every day. Keep your teacher in your dua and be in your teacher's dua all the time. This is something we can work towards. All right. All right. Keep your teacher in your dua all the time. And pray that you are in your teacher's dua all the time. The first part is almost normal for a student to pray for a teacher. But for a teacher to pray for a student is something that is most beautiful. To be in your teacher's daily dua is most beautiful. Always seek to be of this. Imam Ghazali's advice as well. If you have a schedule every day, one of it is to always seek to be in the service of your teachers. Always seek to be in the service of your teachers. All right, so to serve your teacher's cause. Which is why Ihsan Institute came out. It's a way to serve our teachers. All right. You have kept my company for 30 years. What have you gained in the course of these years? It's quite a loaded question. 30 years with me, what have you learned? Right? Hatim replied, I have gained 8 benefits from the knowledge which is sufficient for me. It's as though, right, he's prepared for it. You know, when he's asked immediately, just let me think about it. No, I have 8. This shows what? Hatim is someone, all right, is someone who has contemplated upon his lesson. That's why I say it's important for you to look back at your lessons and take away something from it. Always reflect on the lessons. Always reflect on your time learning. All right? So, and how do you reflect upon it? How have you been impacted by it? You have to reflect, extract, and act. All right? So there's 3 processes. You have to reflect on the lesson, extract the point from the lesson that you want to act upon, and then you act upon it. Reflect, extract, act. I hope my salvation and safety are embodied in them. Shaqiq asked Hatim to mention this. So Shaqiq, can you tell them what the 8 things? Hatim al-Assam said, and this part of adab also, if your teacher tells you to do something, and it's not, and a teacher will never ask you to do things that's the sign of a good teacher as well. All right, there's a sign of a good teacher. Some teachers, they take the liberty to just torture you. All right, that one's more like a field instructor. All right, but a teacher, when they ask you to do things, all right, usually it's for your own good. All right, it's always for your own good. So one of the things that if you don't put your teacher in a position whereby when they ask you to do something, no lah, cannot lah, don't. All right, you do it. All right, you do it. All right. But Ustaz, the teacher asked me to do something that is sinful. Then that's not a teacher. That's a devil. All right. A teacher, remember, a teacher is always first things foremost Sharia compliant. All right. A teacher is first thing and foremost Sharia compliant. If a teacher tells you, I want to test your faith today, I want you to go to the club and stay in there for 3 hours. Will you do? No, you don't. Because no teacher will make you to go to somewhere that's not beneficial. Your teacher tells you, you take some pain and you pour it on Brother Erwan's door. Then your teacher is not actually a teacher, it's a loan shark. All right. So you need to know the difference. Your teacher will not ask you to do things which is not Sharia. I want to test your faith, your loyalty to me. I want you to don't pray for Fajr today. Then that teacher is not a teacher. A teacher will never compromise your Sharia. Will not compromise your religious fundamentals. All right. Your teacher will not tell you, it's okay, today we don't wake up for Fajr. Allah is all forgiving. That teacher really have a lot of followers. Because all the followers cannot wake up for Fajr. All right. The first, and this is the first one, Hatim al-Assam said, the first benefit is that I observe. And look at this, observe. A student must always be, a student of knowledge always observant. I observed the creation and saw that everyone had a loved one and one passionately desired whom he loved and longed for. All of us have someone whom we love and want to be with and cannot live without. All of us. All right? That's why we come home every day, right? That's why we come home every day. Why? Because there's someone at home that we love and crave for. All right? Can't be your bosses. Can't be your bosses at work. It's going to be the boss at home. All right, can't be your boss at work. Is your boss at home. All right. Some of the beloved accompany the lover up to the brink of sickness and death, and others to the gate of the graveyard. All of them return and leave him there alone. No one goes into the tomb with him. No matter how much someone says that they love you, that love is still halted by death. Once death happens, there's a limit to it. Your wife, your husband, all right, they will send to the grave. They will wait by your graveside. But once it's 7 p.m., 8 p.m., he won't dare to stay there longer. He will go home. He will go home. No one wants to go all the way with you. Someone might cry, but life goes on. Your life in the grave goes on. The life of those you leave behind will go on as well. Your children might cry for you when you die. They might be affected 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4, 5 years, but then they need to move on. They might have the intensity of missing you will not be the same as time goes by because life goes on. But the intensity of your suffering or pleasure in the graveyard will increase almost every day. So what he's trying to say here, that what is he trying to say therefore? They will move on. So if you're the type that says, I'm expecting deeds to be sent by them. But look at this, all right? I look into the matter and said to myself, the best beloved is that we should enter the tomb with the lover to console him. I found it to be nothing else than good works. This is what Imam Al-Alawil Haddad says just now. Wahai zadali. Have your things with you. All right? You know the greatest comfort if you're traveling, all right? If you're traveling, all right? If you're traveling, all right? If you're traveling a distance and then you found out that your flight has been cancelled and you are stranded. It's always comforting to know what? To have your family close to you. Right? No matter what stranded, no matter flight has been changed, rescheduled, stranded, but this is not the same as being alone. If you're alone, you're lost. You're stuck in a country that you don't know how it works. All right? You're gonna be very panicky. But if you have your family around you, you're someone, even one member of your family with you, all right? Amazing feeling. Or, all right, if you're traveling alone, at least you have your things with you. At least the cargo you've been unloaded from the cargo, all right, from your luggage has been taken. At least you have your bag with you, your possession with you. The worst kind of feeling is when you are stuck, if you're stuck in an airport where the travel plans have changed, it's been distorted, your belongings are not with you, and you are alone. That's the worst kind of feeling. You're stuck in a country that you don't know how it works. There's got no system. And you don't have your bag with you. You're waiting for your bag to come out. The bag doesn't come out. The bag is stuck in the cargo. The cargo is not there. And then you don't know what to do now. You are lost because you have no reference point. You have no friends around you. You have no one to turn to. It's not the same as being there when you are lost, when you're suffering, to suffer with someone who wants to suffer with you. So this is the graveyard reality. Those whom you love, you can't blame them. They will follow you. But remember, manage your expectations. They can't follow you all the way to the grave. They can't stay with you. They will have to go and their life needs to go on. But your life will go on as well. So when in the meantime, before you're reunited with whom you left, all right, all of us go through this separation period. All of us will be separated from our loved one. Ishma syi'ta, all right, fa innaka mayitun. Wahbab ma syi'ta fa innaka mufarikun bih. All right, live like how you live, but you surely die. Love whom you want to love, but you surely be separated. All of us be separated from our loved ones. I'll be separated from my spouse, and everyone will be separated from Sister Zura. Either way, either one goes first, or Sister Zura goes first. Or Sister Zura, or Sister Zura goes first, one goes later. Either way, there'll be separation. Ustaz, they went together. Even if you die together, separate realities. What one goes through in the hereafter will not be the same as what Zura goes through in the hereafter. That is separation. We all will be separated. So since we are going to be separated with whom we love, and we hope to be reunited with them, in the meantime, we need someone to comfort us. You are stuck in the airport. You are stranded. You have nowhere to go. You have all these things that you have a lot of uncertainties. All right? Your luggage is not with you. Your loved one's not with you. You can take out your phone. And then you look back into your phone, the photos. Look at the phone. You can do the video call. Comforting to know that. So what will be that video call? Will be those photos? Your good deeds. Your good deeds. Those are the things that will comfort you in the grave. While waiting to be reunited with our spouses, with our parents, with our teachers who have left us and we have left them, while waiting for that reunite, while you wait for your flight, for your next flight to join with those who are waiting for you at the airport, all right, at the Gardens of Paradise, then while waiting for that, you have to comfort yourself. What can comfort you? There's no other thing that can comfort you but your good deeds. Only good deeds can comfort you. I found this with nothing else than good work. So I took this as my beloved to illuminate my grave for me and to comfort me in it and not leave me alone. Your good deeds will stay with you. And your bad deeds will torment you. So which one do you want to take into the grave? So the more good deeds you do, the more company you have inside. And the company of the good deeds is to comfort you from the terror, from the torment, or of the hereafter, from the torment of the grave. Wallahu alam bisawab. You have a question? Right? If no question, inshallah, we'll meet each other again next week. Right? وصلى الله على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Thank you, Ustaz.
Thank you everyone.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Ustaz.
Welcome.